Hey, it's Dave Michaels from Talking Points. I've got a few days between returning from UC Expo in London and my departure for Peru for the NICE analyst event. So I wanted to just do a couple updates here by video. And this one is about the zoomtopia event. Zias and I did a zoomtopia video real-time recorded a few days ago. It was actually during the event, and we talked about all the major announcements. We gave our opinions and stuff. I think it's a pretty good video. I encourage you to watch that. But since the event is ended, and since talking to more people at UC Expo, I've had a few thoughts that kind of really resonating with me, and I wanted to share them. Zoomtopia is one of the only conferences, vendor conferences, that just touches almost everything. And so they're touching contact center, they're touching meetings, they're touching mail and calendar, and now they're touching docs, which is what I want to talk about. So their biggest announcement there was Zoom Docs, which I really think is a very significant and profound announcement. And I think this is really important for a couple of reasons. One is Zoom needs something like this if it wants to have accounts that don't have Microsoft or Google. Most accounts have Microsoft or Google, and if Microsoft and Google are in the account, then a company like Zoom has to not only sell them to use their meeting solution or something, but they also have to sell them on not using the meeting solution they already have. And it's a double sell. So it's obviously much better for a company like Zoom if Microsoft or Google are not in the account. But that's hard to do because you have to have a product like email and you have to have a product like Docs. And so last year at Zoomtopia, they announced email and calendaring. And a lot of people were surprised by that. You know, how could Zoom compete with Microsoft or Google on email and calendaring? And to me, I think there's a lot of opportunities. Zoom is a very innovative company, and email is not an innovative category. I mean, email is something we all still use. We like to make fun of it, but we all use it, and it is not seen much innovation at all in the past decade or so, very little. And I have seen some innovation in email. I think the best example was a product called Hey from Basecamp. And they were very innovative in their approach. They did some great things, but Hey doesn't have the marketing reach of a Zoom to really penetrate a lot of accounts. So Hey will reach customers that they already have, and a lot of people have been really happy with Hey. But I think Zoom can do a lot more disruption there. And I think that was the intent a year ago. Now, a year later, the Zoom email and calendar are not significantly different than they were when they launched. And I think what happened there was generative AI kind of pushed it down a little bit on the stack. And so Zoom has been responding very aggressively to generative AI. They've invested heavily, they've hired new people. And I think they're building a big piece of their strategy around the Zoom AI companion. So I have no doubt that calendar and email are going to become big stories for Zoom, but it didn't happen this past year. Instead, they've doubled down on Zoom AI, which I just mentioned, or Zoom AI companion. But I think Zoom Docs is really important. Now, the reason it's so important is because the paradigm around Docs has really been the same since the 90s. It all started with Microsoft Office when it had two products. It was Microsoft Word and Excel. And what was happening was there was a religious battle at the time, we'll show you my age here, religious battle at the time between Word and WordPerfect and Excel and Lotus. And Microsoft solved that by bundling Word and Excel together. So now you made one decision, you got both products, and neither of the other products could effectively compete. And so WordPerfect kind of went into the niche category, and I don't even know what happened to Lotus, but and then we've seen the story propagate, right? So then Harvard Graphics was the leader in company graphics and presentations, and PowerPoint was bundled with Word and Excel, and that story continues all the way up to present day with Microsoft Teams. The point is that this Office Productivity Suite paradigm, whether it be Microsoft Office or Google Workspace, or Corel ended up with WordPerfect and they made their own suite, and Apple has their own suite. Whatever suite you're looking at, it's this basic suite of a word processor, a spreadsheet, and graphics, and maybe a few more. And that's been going on for 30 years. That's not the future. I think it's lived a very impressive life. But the future, I think, and it's hard to tell the future, sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, appears to be more of what we call these canvas products. There's several of them out there. Slack introduced one about a year ago. I can't think of the other ones right now, but there's several out there. They're all kind of geeky, you have to really understand how to use these things. But the one that's kind of cut through the noise and getting traction is Notion. And Notion is inherently a database, but it's also a canvas. And you can do all kinds of things with it. And these barriers between different kinds of documents and content go away. You put objects in a Notion document or a Notion workspace, and everything is there. That's getting traction. Notion is breaking out. They're getting a lot of international users. It's a Silicon Valley company, but they have more users international. It's fairly easy to customize. The ecosystem is growing with people making templates available. And it's something that Silicon Valley can't ignore anymore. So Zoom is figuring out, hey, we need some sort of office productivity suite. They're not going to go just build another set of word processors and spreadsheets, etc. They're starting with this, what they're calling Zoom Docs, which I don't think is a good name. And they're going to create more like a Canvas type of tool, this next generation tool. And this works in combination with, and this is the key part here, it works in combination with the Zoom Companion, AI Companion, and it works in combination with meetings. And so, for example, the first thing you can put in a doc is a transcript from a meeting or the action items from a meeting that the AI generates. And so I think this new suite play is going to be forming, and it's going to be forming around a product like Notion or Zoom Docs. Now, Microsoft's not oblivious to this. Microsoft has a product called Loop. It's been available for a while. It's very much like Notion, and they're starting to actually roll that out more aggressively here fairly soon. So you've got Loop coming, and all of these. So we've got basically two big disruptive forces happening. We've got generative AI, and we have this new form of Canvas productivity management. And together, the value prop of office productivity is really changing. And I think that's what is really important about what Zoom is doing. I think then they're going to go back to their email and calendar, which works great right now as an email client. It even works fine as a standalone solution, but it's just not exciting. But I think that if they innovate that email and calendaring product so that, again, you know, one of the things that calendaring should be easy to do with AI. It's not. It's harder to do than you think. But helping people manage their calendars, that's like 80% of what an executive personal assistant does these days, because there's this constant rescheduling and priorities are constantly changing. The rest of us don't have personal assistants. And so it would be great if our AI could help us with that, but there's just not enough information in there yet. The AI doesn't know what's more important. And so I think we're going to see a lot of things changing over the next couple of years. And I think Zoom is plotting that future very nicely. So I'm really pleased with Zoom Docs, really pleased with AI Companion. And what Zoom is actually doing here, which is really important, and no other company has really done this as effectively, is building a single stack solution, a single client solution for that matter, that is encompassing all the things I've already mentioned, plus, you know, calling, plus contact center, plus messaging, and so really building out a fairly complete suite. So I'm feeling really good about what came out of Zoomtopia, and really pleased about that event. So that wraps up this video, and check out the other real-time recorded with CS and I. Thanks.